Jesse, talk about what Columbus did to stifle your attack before Abong put it in late in second half stoppage time.
Yeah, I mean, two teams that know each other really well. They did a good job of clogging the middle and not allowing us to get our rhythm of play going. We showed a little bit of impatience early, but then as the first half went on, I thought that we grew into the game. Credit to Columbus. They did make it hard on us, and it wasn't easy to find chances. We made a really good push at the end of the game. It's it's painfully unbelievable how that game ends. But I'm proud of my team, proud of our guys, proud to be their coach. We talked at the beginning of the year. One of the first conversations I had with them was about emptying the tank at the highest level. And, I couldn't have asked for more from this group of guys, and I know how bad they wanted it. It hurts. That locker room is in pain right now. And it just because it means so much to them. So, yeah.
We'll stay left with Eric.
Jesse, over the two legs, do you think it was down to execution, or did you get the game plan right? What do you chalk that up to?
It was interesting because neither team, I think, really played their classic style of play. Columbus didn't often get into their rhythm of play. And, for us, they were doing things to counteract what we like to do. We were doing things to counteract what they like to do. So it was often a stalemate. Obviously, some of the mistakes we make in Columbus are the ones that really cost us. But overall, I thought our guys laid it all out there in both games, and couldn't have asked for more, really.
We'll stay left with Dave.
Thank you.
Jesse, it seems that in both legs, it followed kind of similar themes, with the Red Bulls having issues getting to the ball quicker than the Crew, just challenged in general. Yet the lineup was the same tactically; it looked the same. Now looking back at the series, is there anything you would do differently? Are there any regrets in the way that the team approached this particular?
No. I think, it was always going to come down to how now could we win battles on the field, and how could we, do what we do more effectively than them trying to do what they do. And again, for me, the series in a lot of ways is a stalemate of styles and attempts to try and commit. Each team's trying to commit to how they play, but also trying to mitigate how the other team plays. So, and we're in direct contrast with some of the things we do. So for me, the tactics of the game, the commitment of the players from each team, the way of going after the game and trying to be, the identity of who we wanted to be, but also deal with what they are. Pretty high level game that, even though it wasn't always the prettiest, was both teams trying hard to figure out ways to gain an edge. That's how I look at it.
Go second row in the front here.
Jesse, what did you tell your team before the game? What did you tell them afterwards?
Before the game was just to have, urgency but patience. And, one of the phrases we use is play fast but don't rush. We knew that it was important to get after the game right away, but also to not let the game slip. We get a little bit lucky. Luis makes a couple of huge saves in the first half, in the first 20 minutes, to make sure that we're still alive. And we, again, we sort of, as we settled into the game, I thought, found ourselves getting more and more into our tempo, more and more into our attacking part of the field, and now just trying to find ways to be a little bit more dangerous and create a few more chances. After the game, I just told them I was proud to be their coach, and that they have so much to be proud of, and that this is no question a successful season.
Go to the right with Christian.
Jesse, you've said one game at a time. Now the next game is in March. Where does this regular season and this postseason push kind of put you for the next game?
Well, the off seasons are never easy. This team will never be together as it exists now, and it's hard to know that, because I love this team. I love how all these players have committed themselves to the mission of what we've tried to accomplish. And now it's important for each guy to now think about, I've asked these guys at such a high level to think about the team first And when the off season comes, it's time for players to now think about their own personal situations. So there's a lot of delicate situations with different players, and we have to figure out how to try to keep the nucleus and most of this team together, retool it, and then get ready to give these guys a little bit of break and get ready to ramp it all up again for next year. So it's a very daunting task at this time, but right now I'm so much more focused on just thanking these players, thanking this organization, thanking our fans. In every way, this has been a magical season. And, it was an inch, 2 inches. I don't know. You tell me how far it was away from having a real chance to be something even more special.
Go front right, Franco.
Jesse, you talked about them clogging the middle, which seems to put the onus on out wide, where Mike and Lloyd have had a lot of success this year. But over the course of the series, they didn't seem to get as involved as they have throughout the year. What did Columbus do? I saw you switch them in the second half from right and left. What did Columbus do to
I made the switch in the second half to try and see if the matchup for Lloyd and Afoul might help out, and Mike going against Francis. Clearly they had zoned in on dealing with those two. They had done pretty well in that matchup. So, I thought when we made that change, it helped the game. Columbus really tried to change and disturb the way that we try to do things. And they accomplished it in a lot of ways, and we tried to do the same for them, and we accomplished it in a lot of ways. So what everyone would have thought would have been a shootout turned out to be an actual defensive contest. Again, it was a stalemate in many ways. But Columbus wound up making a couple more plays than we did, and they wound up surviving.
We'll go front with Michael.
Jesse, well, what did you see at Anatole to bring him into the game in practice and?
Yeah, I mean, he was hurt, and then he's been coming back into training, and we've challenged him to get himself back going again. He's been pretty sharp in training, and if it's a game where we are feeling like we have to push late and we're going to be putting balls in the box, then that's where Abong is a threat, and he's effective and he's strong, and so I thought he did very well when he came in, and I was even trying to figure out if it was time to put him in earlier. You're trying to see at what moment you want to. I mean, we ended up with almost every attacking player we have on our roster on the field, just trying to figure out ways to be dangerous without giving the game away. So that was the balance of what we were doing at the end.
We'll go to the left first with Ivis, and then come back to Howard.
Jesse, last year you followed the playoffs and everything. You saw Columbus come into the playoffs last year, hot team, the first time in the playoffs as a group, and they were soundly beaten. Did you see a more experienced group team? How much do you think that helped them this year?
Yeah.
And do you think this experience for you guys can give you something to build on, even though it won't be the same team next year?
Yeah. No, clearly Columbus used the experience from last year to benefit them this year. We are in the middle of our own process. I think we were a good enough team this year to have a real legitimate shot to win MLS Cup, and we proved that, I think, throughout the season and throughout the playoffs. But the reality is we are in our first year of our process here, and we're very hopeful to keep this group together as much as possible and continue the process next year and feel like everything that we went through this year will make us stronger for next year. It's hard to talk about that right now because there's so much emotion and so many guys have laid their lives, on the line for this, laid their professional lives, given everything they've had, emptied the tank every day. And so talking about next year right now is not something we want to do. I mean, more than anything, I just want to thank them all for this year.
We got time for two more. We take the first one with Howard.
And Jesse, just to that process and to the end of that process, I'm just curious what you think 2015 has meant for the Red Bulls on and off the field in terms of what you've accomplished and what you think you've set as an organization.
Well, I think there's a new direction here. Okay, and it's obvious to everyone by how we play, and I think the commitment of the organization. You could start with Mr. Mateschitz, but you could come down and you could talk about guys like Oliver Mitzloff and Mark de Grand Prix and Ali Curtis, and then myself, and down to the players. We're all united. We're all moving forward in the same direction. This is clearly something I think that's unique in our league, and it has its own identity. And we're in initial stages. Our goal is to put ourselves in these kinds of games and these kinds of situations every year, to grow every year, to invest in our youth, invest in our youth academy, and create something that has such big identity that everyone in the community wants to attach themselves to it. So I think we the first year on that sense has been an overwhelming success. And if we can make this kind of progress year in and year out, we'll create something I think that'll be really special.
I'll take the last one, second row on the right.
Jesse, in the first half, it seemed like there were a fair amount of physical battles going on, a lot of pushing and shoving, more so in the first half than in the second. What kind of effect did that have on your guys and your game plan?
Yeah, I think that
urgency
one of Columbus's tactics, so when I talk about a stalemate in certain ways and each team trying to cancel each other out, one of Columbus's tactics was any time that we were now getting out on the break that they wanted to foul us. I mentioned in Columbus that I didn't think the referee did a good job of mitigating that. I would point to that again tonight in the first half. I felt like the referee let too many physical challenges from Columbus get away. Smart move from them, right? Because we can be dangerous on the move and we can be dangerous in transition. So it's a smart move from them to try to slow the game down. The only way to deal with that as a referee is to start to give out yellows for tactical fouls for slowing down the game, because once a guy picks up a yellow, then he's got to be very careful about however many fouls he's going to commit. Didn't happen enough in either series or in either game, so that tactic wound up being successful for them.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.